Hey you guys, happy Wednesday. For me it's still Tuesday and I'm on my way to go get a fountain cook with Tanya. So I'm really, to be honest with you, number one, I just want to say thank you for all of the encouraging messages, comments, and tweets that people sent me on my video yesterday. I know you're probably dying to find out what is going on, even though you didn't say it, and you were so respectful. I really appreciate it. You know, sometimes we're just not ready to talk about shit. And I thought a lot about today how I want to handle my vlog going forward. And I honestly thought, I'm so thirsty for something, and it's not a fountain coke, it's really like water. I'm getting ready to do a You Now stream here in a little bit. I honestly thought a lot of people in my situation, I think, would either do some catastrophic event and turn it into some kind of view thing, or they would just stop doing videos because they didn't know how to deal with what's going on. So, I have decided to just share my truth on camera and allow you guys to be part of the journey that I'm on. And so I really don't know what will happen from day to day going forward, to be honest with you. But I know that you guys, you know, are supportive of me and want to see what's going on and want to see my story. So I thought, you know, that's probably the best thing to do, is just to get honest with them and share it. And, you know, I wanted to do it when I wasn't emotional, bawling my eyes out, complete wreck like I was last night when I did this thing. So I feel better now. I never wanted to come on this channel and be one of those bullshit couples that was very much like, hi, how are you, blah, 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 whatever. I also didn't want to be the couple that comes on camera and, like, shows us fighting, because I don't believe people really want to see that, if that makes sense. And marriage is tough, you know, and Alex and I have had ups and downs. You know, I said on here one day that we were going to marriage counseling because our marriage was like a 7 and we wanted to get it to like a 10 or whatever. Well, maybe that day that was true. There are some days that are 4s, there are some days that are 9s, there are some days that are 1s. The last couple days have been a lot of 1s. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And yesterday was maybe a half, not even a 1. It was just bad. And as things proceed, I will talk about issues that we have, you know, on this channel, because I want people to be able to relate to it and go, oh my God, I've been there. Like, I so relate to that, right? But it's almost like, and I don't really necessarily see this as a job, but it's similar. It would be like if you, like, went to work and everybody was asking you what was wrong, and you're like, I don't really want to talk about this. It's like really personal. But it's like you were in a job that was really personal, if that makes sense. And so it was kind of like, well, to share it. So anyway, things have just not been great between Alex and I before we left for Florida and after. And I'm sure a lot of you figured this out last night when you were watching my vlog, and that's probably what I was talking about. And I'm somebody that very much forces things, and Alex is somebody that needs a space. And I found out that Alex was, like, thinking about the possibility of, like, if it didn't work, where would he move, kind of thing. Looking for places, possibly. How expensive would it be? I'm sure some of you out there have been there, or your partners have, and I freaked. And Alex said, I think it would be better if I just stayed at my mom's house tonight. And we were very adult about the whole thing, but it was last night, there wasn't a lot of hope. And I would say there was maybe 3 or 4% of hope that we were going to make this marriage last. And even today, I very much felt that way. I was very hurt yesterday. I was hurt numb. Today, I've been hurt angry, if that makes sense. And so we had our counseling appointment tonight. You know, and here's the thing is I thought, oh my God, we're getting right up to the point of like being able to fix this with the counseling appointment. And like now he's like making all his choices at the last minute. And which, listen, I understand. And, you know, I went and I got Tanya last night and she just, you know, she's my good Judy. I mean, what do you do when you're having a down day? You call your friend. And she just sat in the car with me, like, bawled my eyes out and bawled my eyes out and bawled my eyes out. And she said, you know, maybe it's too much for him, Peter. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Like, this isn't just like, oh, we had a fight and we're like, we're way too serious and take our marriage way too serious for something like that. It's just been a lot of stuff. And, on both of our parts, I think we both got here. And she said to me, she goes, I think it really bothers me how mature and adult you guys are being about this. She's like, you know, but like, I don't want to be any other way. I've left two other relationships where I've just been like so hurtful or so angry at the other person and so hurt and just like, I don't want to, if Alex and I don't make it, I don't want that to be the case, you know? So we went to our counseling appointment and it went really well. I didn't really realize how angry I was until I got in the appointment. And, I don't know what happened in there, you know, like, we both got to say a lot of things that we needed to say, I think, and listen to the other person. Our counselor's this really cool guy, and, so when we left, I kind of was like, I don't really know where we're going. Are you staying at your mom's house? Or are we moving forward and getting divorced? What are we doing? And Alex is like, and because like the whole session, we're like trying to get to this, like, are we going to make a commitment to this or are we not? And Alex is like, no, I don't know what I want to do. I'm confused. And he's upset and I'm upset. And so we made a commitment that, you know, we were going to work on things, and we have another appointment in 2 weeks, and in between them we each have individual appointments with this guy and to work on some things. And I'm hopeful today, you know. I would say I'm about 50% hopeful. Maybe 48%. It changes by the moment. You know, I left and I said to him, are you gonna stay at the house? Where do you want to go? He goes, what do you want me to do? And Alex said, I think for us to formally separate at this point when we're trying to work on our marriage is more destructive than constructive. I said, I agree. I don't want you to move out. I said, I wanted you to move out last night, you know? And so he came home and, you know, we had this very emotional talk for just a short period of time because I didn't want to like rehash the whole session up. And I said, I need some time tonight. I'm going to go eat. And so I went to the Chinese buffet and I ate by myself. And now I'm going to get a fountain cook with Tani. He was like, you need to, I mean, I literally slept 3 hours last night. I was so exhausted and very upset. And so then I took a nap and I'm going to do a YouNow stream. And I think tonight we're good. I mean, they're watching TV and he gave me a big hug and a kiss. And it's like, I think we're going to be able to make it through this, you know? And so I'm hopeful. And, but it's tough. Marriage is really hard, you know? It's not easy. And I've been saying that a lot on my videos. And if anything, you know, I hope I can, you know, I can't come on here anymore and just act bullshitty. You know, and the thing is that, like, it started off with Alex not being comfortable on camera, but then it turned into, like, if we had just been arguing and I was going to turn on the camera, like, he's like, I'm not going to be on camera when we were just arguing, you know, like, I'm not going to do that. And so then as you saw him be on camera more, like in Florida and before that and stuff like that, that was because, like, we were getting along so well. And, like, we do so well. Like, in Florida, not one fight. We got along really, really well. And it's like we come back to all the distractions of home, and it's like, it's hard again. Are you guys like that? Like, when you're on vacation, everything's, like, great, and you reconnect? You know, but, like, then you come home and it's just so tough, you know? And I'm really hopeful that we'll make it. And, I think last night I was very much in panic mode. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't know how to take care of myself, and you know, but listen, I'm a survivor. I've been through a lot in my life. I'll be just fine. But I don't want to be fine. I don't want him out of my life, and he doesn't want me out of his life. And I think the thing that was scary about yesterday and why I said it was the worst day I'd ever had was because we were talking divorce. And we were not hating, and we were not yelling, and we were not screaming. We were very calmly saying, maybe this isn't fixable. And it was scary to me, you know? Like, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to marriage. Like, I believe you marry somebody and you're with them till the day you die. And, you know, like, and I understand that marriage doesn't work. And I don't look down on people who are divorced, you know, or any of that kind of stuff. But, like, I didn't want that to be my reality. I'd hoped it wouldn't be my reality. And I still hope that that won't be my reality. You know, if it is, I will move on and I will handle it and deal with my shit. But, like, I'm not going to be a liar to you guys. I just can't. And so that's what happened yesterday. That's what was going on. And, you know, it just is. And so I'm sorry that I was vague about that yesterday. I didn't feel like I was in a space to talk about it. And really, to be honest with you, out of fairness to Alex, too, because I love my husband, you know, and I don't want anybody looking down on him, and I don't want anybody looking down on me, and I don't believe that if this marriage doesn't make it, we failed. I don't believe that. I don't believe that when you get divorced, you failed. I believe that it didn't work. Okay, but I don't believe that it's a failure, because I do think that given points in a marriage, it was an A+, it was a D, it was a B, it was a C, you know, and I think, like, I don't know, it just depends on the circumstances that you leave, but I don't think that you failed it if you guys don't make it. I think it just means that maybe it couldn't be fixed, and we're in the stage of still figuring that out. I will say this, for anybody out there going through marital problems, get your ass in counseling. I don't know what that session did for me today, and as a counselor, I sure as shit should have known this a long time ago. But, like, we sat in that room for an hour, and I have to tell you, probably a good 40 minutes of it, I thought, he's not in it. Like, he doesn't want to fix this marriage. And when we walked out, I ran to the bathroom, and he said, I have to go get my driver's license. I'll meet you at home. And I said, are you coming home? And he goes, yeah, I'm committed to working on this. Didn't you hear me say that in there? And I don't know what changed in that hour, but, like, and he said to me later, he goes, I heard you own some shit in a way that you've never owned it before. And he goes, and I was able to get some things out that I'm, like, need to work on. And the counselor was pretty direct with him and with me. And we were both really receptive to it because we really want to fix our marriage, you know? We have a lot to lose. And we both want to grow as people. So, I love him. I want him in my life, you know? Well, I'm at my good Judy's, so I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Thanks for understanding. I didn't mean to deceive you. And maybe this will allow me to segue into being even more honest and more real on my channel. I hope so. I'm back. Did my YouNow stream. Picked up Tanya. Drove around, got Fountain Cokes. I took her to the kennel so she could let the dogs out. Who let the dogs out? Who? I got like 3 direct Twitter messages tonight from people that say, I know you don't know if you should show more stuff in your vlogs, but I personally just love when you drive around. So, thank you. That means the world to me. I shared so much earlier, like I don't know what to share now, you know? Thank you for listening to me talk about the reality of my life. It is so peaceful. I'm like way out in the country. I'm getting ready to go home and go to bed early. Alex just texted me and said he was going to bed, so I'm gonna go to bed with him tonight. And it's like literally like country roads. I was gonna turn around and show you guys, but I won't do that. Cornfields. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye. It's not though. It's like totally no corn whatsoever. I told so many stories on my YouNow stream tonight. I was like telling all these stories. Like I got off the YouNow stream and my friend Dustin called me and we were talking, and I was telling him like these funny stories, and now I can't even remember what I was telling him about. I'm like, I need to take that ginkgo biloba or whatever, because I'm like having a hard time remembering things. I got laughing so hard though telling him some story. I was telling him about going to the Chinese buffet, and he was like, "Did you live for it, girl?" I was like, "Oh, it was so good." And I was like, but I always get the same thing when I go to Chinese buffet. Okay, and I go to this Chinese buffet in Fishers, which is on like the north side of Indianapolis, and it's not like this fancy, bougie Chinese buffet. It's just like a regular buffet. But there's like one by our house that I swear to God, if you went there, you'd probably get sick and have to gag a maggot. I mean, it's like so nasty. And I went there one time. I was like, this place looks dirty. Like, I don't even want to eat somewhere that looks dirty like this. But I did it anyway. I survived. But, so I went tonight, but I always get the same thing, and I always get hot. Okay, this is how I do it. So I come in and I pay, and I like to eat in the booth. I don't really like going with anybody to Chinese buffet, honestly. Like, I like to just go by myself and sit on my phone and kind of just like relax. I don't know why. And it was so funny because one of Alex's old coworkers was in there with her husband and son, and she came over and she was like, "Hey, how are you?" And I was like, "I'm fine." And Alex hates Chinese buffet, and so, he loves Chinese food. He just doesn't like Chinese buffet. He doesn't like anything on a buffet. He's like real weird about it. Unless it's like some fancy Las Vegas buffet. He's like afraid he'll get sick. So anyway, I was sitting there. So I come in and I pay, and then I go, like before I even sit down, and I get my hot and sour soup. Do you do that with those little crinkly noodles? And then I go with I get napkins and a spoon, and I go and I sit that down, and then I go and I get a Coke to drink, typically, although today I had Mr. Pibb, it was nasty. And then I go back and I get a plate, and I get 2 egg rolls and like 3 or 4 crab meat rangoons, which is really interesting because I don't eat any kind of fish. I can't stand it. And I was actually talking in my YouNow stream tonight that like somebody asked me if I like sushi, and I do like sushi. I can't eat it a lot, or like I get over it real quick. Like I like it and I like the idea of it. It's super expensive, I think, for what you get anyway. But like I will only eat like California rolls or like avocado rolls. Sometimes I can do like spicy crab meat. But very rarely am I in the mood for that. But anyway, but I do like crab meat rangoon. Like, I love them, and I don't know why. Like, they don't taste fishy to me. Like, for me not to eat fish, like, and so many people have like, oh, you should try orange roughy, or you should try salmon. I'm like, ugh, no. Like, my mother used to cook orange roughy, and I thought it stank. I couldn't smell. It would smell up the whole kitchen. I couldn't stand it. So, but I do love crab meat rangoon. And I bit into the one tonight, and like this whole gloop of crab meat just like went into my soup. I was so pissed. Had to get a new spoon and everything. So I get that, and then I go up and I get like a plate of like real food, and I get like fried rice, which I don't know why this Dragon House buffet, which I love, but like I don't know how they can fuck up fried rice. Like, how do you fuck it up? Like, as a Chinese restaurant, but they do. It has no taste to it whatsoever. And my ex used to love white rice. He would put it in a bowl, and then the pot stickers, you know, like the sauce that comes on pot stickers. Try this sometime. I swear, it's so good. He would take like several spoonfuls of that pot sticker sauce, and he would put it over the white rice, and it is so good. But they didn't have pot stickers tonight, so I didn't do that. But then I get like a regular plate of like chicken, and like their lo mein like is just not good there at all. So I got fried rice, sesame chicken, General Tso's chicken, bourbon pork or something, I don't know, broccoli something. And I sat there and I ate it, and it was so good. So yeah, but one of the things that's funny to me is, okay, so like, when I was talking to this girl that Alex used to work with, she like, her son kept on running up. He was so sweet, and he had like this big bowl of ice cream with sprinkles on it. Why is it that kids that go to like, I'm like doing my roundabout to go home. Why is it that kids that go to Chinese restaurants, they love that ice cream machine with the sprinkle, that you can put sprinkles on it? And then I always sit there and I always think, oh, I think I would really like ice cream with sprinkles, but at that point I'm kind of full. But I always do get hot tea with an almond cookie. I don't know why, but I love it, right? And you have to get a fortune cookie. My fortune cookie tonight said, where there is will, there is way. And I texted Alex and I said, my fortune sounds like how your mom talks. Where there is will, there is way. I brought him a fortune cookie home because he wanted one. I said, do you want a fortune cookie? He was like, yes, please. But I don't know what his fortune said. Probably good luck with counseling. I dated this guy way back in the day. I'll never forget this. He was so not into me, and I was so into him. God, this was before I got sober. It was a year before I got sober. What a mess. That relationship was like a total, I don't even claim it. It was like such a mess. And he got me started on so many different drugs. And I will never forget, we were at a Chinese restaurant. And it was he and I and his two friends, and we were sitting in this Chinese restaurant, and I was like in, and he was sitting next to me, and I like opened my fortune cookie. No lie, my fortune said, true love is sitting to your left. I was like, oh Lord. I thought it was the truth of the nature too. It wasn't. Don't you hate though when you like look people up on Facebook and you're like, I want to see if they better look bad because they dissed me so bad, and then you go and they looked like just as good as they did then or better. Like, that pisses me off always. And he does. He looks just as good as he did back then. Wish I had you all alone. Just the two of us. Who can name what movie that song is from? I wish I had you all alone. Just the two of us. And I'll give you a hint. She sings it in the movie. It's not like a song they play. She's singing it in this movie. If you know who that is, what song it is, put it in the comment section below. I'll be really impressed to see who gets that first. I will have mad respect for you, actually, if you know who it is. Because if you know what movie it is, and actually, if you can tell me who the character is, too, without Googling it, then I will be super impressed. I wish I had you all alone. Just the two of us. I was talking to my YouNow stream tonight, like, things that like you think at 40 or over 40 that you wouldn't think at like 19. Like when I was like 19, I thought my shit did not stink. Like I thought I was so hot, right? Like I just did. Like, you know, somebody would look at me and kind of like cruise me a little bit, and I'd be like, ugh, can't be bothered. You know what I mean? Like, no, you're an 8. I only go for 10s. You know what I mean? Like when you're like 19, 20, you just are like, no, like, I want to be treated like gold. He better be really good looking. He better have a lot of money. He better want a family. He better have an amazing family. I mean, you want everything, right? And they better just check off each mark. By the time you hit 40, you're like, if they have a driver's license and a phone, I'm fine. Seriously, do you ever get to that, though? They kind of treat me nice. I'm okay, you know? So anyway, I was saying in my YouNow stream tonight, and some people may find this offensive, so I apologize. It's a little extra for my vlog channel. But I was saying, like, did you ever get, like, I never thought this at 19 or 20, but, like, I think it now. Like, you'll be, like, in a store somewhere, and there'll be, like, somebody in front of you, you know, like, in the grocery store or something, and there's just something about his laugh, or like you'll look and he'll, like, for me, it's always those kind of guys that are like work boots and like work khakis, and they look like they own a landscaping firm or something, or company or something, right? And you look at him and you're like, oh, take me to your truck. If I was single, take me to your pickup truck right now, you know? Or like, do you guys ever think that? It's just like, oh my God. Like, I never would have, like, it's like, I understand now. Like, did you ever read that Judy Blume book, Wifey? Like, I never got it. Like, I don't think you can read that book at 20. Like, I think you have to read that book at like 40 to get it, right? That, like, you start like fantasizing about like, and it's not really sexual fantasy. It's just like how different my life would look like. And I mean, I think like you go through that, you know, and like I think like I talked on here earlier about not, you know, like having a lot of marital problems. Yes, but like when my marriage was like amazing, I even had those moments just where you're like, oh, what I wouldn't do if I was single, and you know what I mean? Like, and then what's really weird is when you find out that people actually do that shit. Like, I know a lot of people that have done that shit. I was talking to a friend of mine a long time ago, and he was like, well, I met this woman at the casino, and we kind of hooked up. I go, like, afterwards, you went on a date? He goes, no, in her car at the casino. I go, what? Like, do people do that? I've never done that. Like, that's never happened to me. I have never been approached by somebody who is like, you want to go out to my car? Let's go hook up. Like, I don't even know. I'd be like, the thing is, I'm totally not a prude, but I'm such a traditionalist. I think I would be embarrassed if somebody said that to me. I'd be like, what? Are you talking about me? Like, I don't even know how I would react to that. You know, I like to come across like I'm so like sexually with it and all this kind of stuff. But like, I think I would laugh or something. Like, I don't even know how I would handle that. You know, it's like, I think we sometimes like to think of ourselves differently than we are, you know? I'm such an ingenue. But I'm not a prude, but I am kind of like, I mean, I can talk about sex all day long. Listen, I could do a whole video and just call it sex, 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 sex. And I'm not embarrassed about talking about sex at all. But I can't imagine if somebody approached me. I mean, if I was single, I mean, if I was married, I'd be like, I'm married, you know, or I'm in a relationship or whatever. But if I was single, I'd be like, well, I can tell you what I used to say back in the day. If you're really that interested, here, let me give you my number, and you can call me and ask me out on a date. I mean to tell you, I thought my shit was gold, and they always called. They always called. That's why. I mean, if you think your shit is gold, and then you stand up for yourself and you say, if you're really that interested, because I respect myself. I should have just fucked him in the car, got it over with. None of those relationships ever lasted anyway. I can tell you in 5 minutes of a date whether this is going to be the love of my life or whether there's no point in me even lasting throughout the rest of the date. Are you guys like that at all? Like, the 1 year that I really dated, because I'm not a good dater. I'm just not. And I've never dated, like, a couple people at the same time. Like, I don't really understand that philosophy. But, like, the 1 year that I dated, which was between my ex, Sean, and when I met Alex, like, I literally would go, I mean, I probably went on 8 or 9 dates that year from people hooking me up and stuff. Because I've never been on a social media app like Grindr, Tinder, any of those things. I've never been on Match.com. Excuse me, Match.com. I've never been on Manhunt. I know. Get with the times, Peter, or whatever. Back in the day, I'm not. Like, I don't like that. That's not who I am, and I don't pass judgment on anybody. But like, I don't know. That's just not how I want to meet somebody. You know, like if I'm gonna fall in love and have a relationship like I did with Alex, like I want it to be natural. I don't want to. And for me, now I feel a little differently about like Match.com and eHarmony because I've had so many clients and friends of mine that have met people through those and had amazing relationships. And I'm sure there are people out there that have met on like Tinder and Grindr too, but I don't think as many. So I'm really talking more about those apps that are really like hookup apps. Let's just be for real, right? Although if I could tell you the amount of girlfriends that I have that get dick pics through like eHarmony and Match.com, they call it Match, just Match, not Match.com. So anyway, is Match.com around anymore? But so I never, you know, did that stuff, and I feel very kind of clueless about it, I guess. I don't know. But I'm not embarrassed of that. I just feel kind of clueless about it all. I don't even know how you do that stuff, you know, and I think that's where people get very scared about it, you know? I can't tell you how many people I've sat in my office with and said, you know, like, hey, have you ever thought about starting a Match.com account? They're like, oh, I don't know that I could ever do that. I'd be like, oh, go ahead. You know, you'll meet somebody, and, you know, you never, there's people don't know how to meet each other anymore. It'd be a great way. But I mean, if it were me, I don't know that I could do that. Honestly, you know, I think I'd be scared. I think it's hard, you know, like in the last 24 hours when I really thought, I mean, is my marriage over? I so was not there thinking about like the next person I'm going to meet, but I thought, I mean, this is a little bit different coming out of your last relationship at 36. I mean, you're coming out 10 years later, I'll be 45, you know, this summer. And I thought, I don't know how to do this alone. You know, I don't know how to be alone. I don't know how to meet people and be social. And I had all these memories of my mom going to these singles groups, the St. Luke's here in town, and I'd come home and I'd be like, what'd you think? She'd be like, it's so depressing. I'd be like, why is it depressing, Mom? And she'd be like, there's like 3 men and they all have like belt buckles from the 70s and, you know, big guts. And she's like, and then there's like 30 good looking women that have their shit together. I think that's so true though, you know, like, isn't that so true? God, it used to piss my mom off. She'd be like, you know, and the 45-year-old men who like, you know, left their wives and their kids and now they have this great condo and they travel 5 times a year and they drive a sports car. She's like, they don't want women that are 45 or 50. She was like, they want women that are 25. They want to start all over again and have the hot new thing. She's like, your dad did it, everybody else did it. You know? And she'd say, she's like, I'm not resentful to 25-year-old. She said, I wish I was that. She didn't really, though. But she'd say, I'm resentful at the man that's no longer wants an experienced woman that has experience of life. So I raised her kid, and, you know, I was the corporate wife, or I was that, and then all of a sudden I'm not good enough anymore, and, you know, you want to move on to something else and get you a hot new thing. Like, my mom just could not stand men that did that. And I think it wasn't so much because of how my dad was, because my dad was so good to her in the divorce and how things went down, and she knew the marriage was over too. I mean, she did. And, you know, it wasn't like he left her for something else, but like, she was like my mom was a truth teller like me, and she just would be like, I just think it's bogus bullshit, you know, that one day a man wakes up and he's still kind of got it, and, you know, here this woman's put everything she's had into raising a family, and the man can't be bothered anymore, you know, now he wants to go find him a young new thing, and she just thought it was so painful. And I've shared this on here before. My mom wrote a book, and it was called Dear Mick Jagger, or Waiting on a Friend, which is one of the Rolling Stone songs. And in there, it was all letters to Mick Jagger about how women change through life. And it's really, parts of it are really powerful. Parts of it are very strange, I will be honest. But that was one of the issues that she addressed in there is, you know, like, I don't understand why it has to be past, at some point, physical youth and beauty, okay? Like, don't you want a partner for more than that? And why would you not want to be with somebody that was your intellectual equivalent? Not that somebody that's 22 is not your intellectual equivalent, but let's just be for real. Most of these men that go and find younger women are doing it, they're not doing it for the intellectual equivalent. And I think it really, really hurt her, you know? The other thing that my mom would give a lot of advice to young girls, because my mom had a lot of friends that were young girls in sobriety, and she would say, my mom was always really against young girls moving in with guys before they were married. And they would say, oh, it's kind of because you're, you know, a traditionalist. And she'd say, it has nothing to do with that. She'd say, it has to do with the fact that, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? And if you give a man everything that basically he wants, okay, without putting the word wife on it, he doesn't have to marry you. And she, you know, she would see a lot of women that, like, in their early 20s would, like, move in with their boyfriends, and for 3 or 4 years, they would live together as if they were married, but they weren't married, and they didn't get all the luxuries that go along with marriage. And then one day, he'd just up and leave, or cheat, or be gone, and then the girl would be sitting there like, what happened? I just wasted 4 years of my life. You know, my mom just felt devastated for these girls, you know? Like, it's hard. I think, like, please don't take this personally and unsubscribe to my channel when I say this, if you're a man out there. But I think women have it 100 times more difficult than men do in society. I just think there's so many things, you know, that go into it. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who's 38, and I said something to her about having another child, and she goes, I'm too old. And I said, oh my God, people are having children into their 40s now, you know, safely. And she said, I'm too old. She said, I don't want to be 60 when I have a child that's going into college. She's like, that's not how I want to spend my 60s. And she was like, so you don't have to figure out what I want the next part of my life to look like. And I think timing is different for women than it is for men in society. I think aging is completely different, you know. It's interesting that my hair is white and that I have a white beard. It would be an interesting conversation to have with my mom, because my mom colored her hair platinum blonde her entire life, except for a year when she had alopecia and it grew out brown. But she was like, I think she would say to me, see, you can do it. You can grow your hair out white, and it may make you look a little older, but it makes you look kind of refined, and it's sexy, and some people find you handsome. She was my mom. That's what she would say. But she would say, now see, if a woman at your age, if a woman at 44 grew her hair out white, okay, she would be judged for her age. And I have to say, I think there's so much truth to that. I really do, you know? You know, men get wrinkles and they look aged, they look experienced, they look handsome and sexy. A woman gets wrinkled, she looks old. You know, it's like, I think there are so many double standards in society. And I think that any woman that stands up and says something about it gets termed negatively a feminist, which I don't, that term for me means something so completely different than how a lot of people see it in a negative way. I don't see it as in negative terms at all, you know, and I consider myself a feminist because I believe in equal rights for all, which is really what a feminist is. And if you disagree with that, feel free to educate me in the comment section below. You know, but I think, you know, it's like my mom used to say to me, you know, like, if a woman stands up for herself, she's a bitch. If a man stands up for himself, he's assertive. You know, it's like those kind of double standards that happen all the time. You know, my mom would work in work environments with men, and, you know, she would stand up and say, I think it's really unfair that, you know, like, yada, yada, yada. Well, a man could have said something just 2 weeks before, and even a woman supervisor would say to her, that's a really good point, John. You know, like, thank you for standing up for yourself and whatever. But my mom would say it, and they would say, you know, like, they would pull her aside, and they'd say, you need to watch your tone, you know. And it's like, you look at that, and it's like, it's 2017. Why are we still buying into stereotypes, you know? I have a lot of friends of mine that are stay-at-home moms by choice. My mother was a stay-at-home mom until I was 16 years old, by choice. I'm thankful that she was a stay-at-home mom. I'm thankful that I had somebody to come home to every day. There's a lot of people that don't have that option. I know a lot of women that work 3 jobs. I think being a stay-at-home mom and raising your child and keeping your family going is a full-time job. I think it's one of the biggest full-time jobs that goes unrecognized in our society. But I think that more women need to work together and have each other's backs. My experience is that a lot of women attack each other, and I really don't understand it. You know, it's like, and then men just sit back and watch it all unfold and go, see? They're crazy. I mean, like, that kind of shit drives me nuts. It's like when I'm sitting somewhere, it's interesting when I'm sitting somewhere because I can kind of float into the men's club a little bit because of the beard and the white hair and whatever. If I don't move and I'm just sitting there and some people are talking, like guys are talking, like they don't know I'm gay, because of course, if, you know, then it changes. The conversation changes as soon as they know I'm gay. But if they don't know that I'm gay, it's like, some of the things that men say, I mean, I have been in work environments when 3 or 4 men will be standing around, professional men, okay, and a woman will walk by, and one will say to the other one, I'd fuck her. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I have never in my life, and maybe this happens in some work environments, but I'm talking about professional work environments. I worked with a lot of women. I have never heard a woman speak that way. Never. I mean, I've heard women speak that way, like out at the club or in my car. Don't get me wrong, okay? A lot of women talk that way. And I love it, because I think women should be able to express their sexual desires as much as men. But in a work environment, it's like, and they think that's okay, you know, and then they just, and then they see her getting down the hall, I mean, and then she doesn't understand why they're all smiling at her. That's called sexual harassment, because she's uncomfortable now, because she's not in on the joke that it's her, see, that she's become objectified. And I have huge issues with that shit. I just think it's horrible. So... And the last time it happened to me was when I was working in an organization, and I was told by my supervisor I had to go address it with those men, and I did. And it was, I'll tell that story sometime on here, but it was very uncomfortable for me. But I have gone on and on and on and on and on. Do you guys remember me complaining about dancing at Ultra and how bad my foot hurt? Well, I think Peter sprained something in his foot because it has gotten worse. And tonight I really noticed it sitting in the car. Like, it's so painful in my heel. I don't know if I sprained my heel or my ankle or whatever you can possibly sprain. I'm gonna have to call my dad tomorrow, but it like hurts so bad. So I'm almost home and I'm gonna go to bed. Is it a full moon tonight? No, it's almost a full moon though. Like maybe this weekend it'll be a full moon. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for listening. I hope you understand the first part of this vlog and what I was trying to say, and that moving forward, I'll try to be as honest as I can while being respectful to the privacy of my marriage and to the privacy of my husband. Alex is a really good person, and he does not deserve to be dragged in any kind of way on my channel, and he's my husband, and I adore him. And I think we'll be able to work through this. I really do. I'm hopeful. And your love, compassion, and kindness today, after seeing the vlog, was overwhelming. It meant so much to me. And it really got me through today. So thank you guys. I love you so much. And as somebody said earlier, they tweeted me out. They said, I am so happy to be part of the Wolf Pack, which is one of the most positive groups on YouTube. I am too. And I don't feel like I lead it. I just feel like I'm part of it. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye. This is what I love at the end of the night. You see him? Hey, honey. Go to your friends. You can't see, but there's like 3 of them over there waiting for him. Aww. Look at that. There's 3 of you. Good night. Good night.